Yeah, I'm continuing along on my little series of golf stories and stories of my life, actually. I'm going to put all these in a separate shared album for my daughter and my granddaughter to have. For all those who outlive me. Anyway, that's a Freddie Couples story, actually. I worked with him a lot. So we fly down to LA, and they put us up at the Peninsula Hotel, a very classy, beautiful hotel. And then the next morning, they limo us all. There's like 12 corporate guys, high-end guys, like the CEO of Schwab, Merrill Lynch, all of these. And the company was Archipelago, which now is actually the New York Stock Exchange. It's an electronic stock exchange that you can... Archipelago turned it into the New York Stock Exchange, as I say, and they had their software enabled you to buy stocks in one spot and on all the exchanges throughout the world, the Nikkei, the Hang Seng, the TSX, the New York, all that kind of stuff. And I was right there at the very beginning of this company, and I should have bought stocks, stupid me, but for about probably 3 years, I did probably 4 to 5, 6 events a year with them. They had Freddie Couples, Mark O'Mara, Scott McCarron, David Faraday. There was just so many pros. I had Paul Azinger. Who the heck else? So many. Tom Lehman. It slips my mind now. But anyways, so they limoed us all up to Santa Barbara, which is where Freddie Couples lives, up about an hour and a half north of LA. And they were going to play Sandpiper, which is a beautiful course right on the Pacific Ocean there in Santa Barbara. And so we, I always remember that because when I got there, Bill Colvin, the guy that hires me, great guy. We became very good friends, him and Patty Sinclair. They were so nice to me. Anyways, I got there and Bill said, "Hey, Bob, how are you?" This blah, blah, blah. Hey, everything's good. He says, "Listen, go down the range." He said, "Freddie's down there. He'll be happy to see you." And Mark and Scott McCarron was the 3 pros and 12 guys, so 1 pro per foursome, right? And so I go down there, and there's Freddie and Mark hitting 2 irons right off the tee deck, and they were just going like rockets, like jets, going low to the ground and taking off and rising way up in the air and then dropping like butterflies 220 yards or 30. Like it was just so impressive to stand there and watch these guys. Anyways, Freddie puts on his head, "Hey, Bob, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Welcome to Santa Barbara," because he actually lives there. Anyways, we played the golf all day, which was uneventful, I should say, but it was just a great day, beautiful day. I got all the photography done. And then the nice part was that we were all going back to Fred Couples' house for dinner. And in these days, he was married to Thais, was her name. Beautiful girl. And his house was like a donut, and it was up in the hills of Santa Barbara, so you had to drive up, switchback up quite high. And sometimes you look back and you see the Pacific Ocean and the town of Santa Barbara down below. Anyways, we got there, and everybody kind of dispersed, and I went around the pool, and Thais came out and welcomed everybody and said, "Hey, everybody, the doors are open everywhere. Make yourselves at home. Walk wherever you want. Do whatever you want." So I went out. I'm sitting at the pool, and I don't know where everybody else was. They probably went to the bar or whatever. There's a putting green right there. There's a tennis court and everything, and this beautiful pool. And I'm sitting there, and Freddie comes out, and he's just to my right, like 15 feet. Anyway, so he's going, there's a big steel barrel of ice and beers in it, right? And he's rummaging around. Now he's changed into his shorts. He's got his casual Tommy Bahama. You know, Freddie, he's the most casual guy you've ever met in your life. So I start giggling, right? He goes, Bob, he says, what are you laughing at? I said, oh, Freddie, I said, man, I said, God, the PGA Tour has been good to you, my friend. Look at this. This is magnificent. You got the tennis court, the putting green. I said, this is spectacular. He says, oh, thank you very much. I said, yeah, that's great. I love living here. And I said, listen, I said, you must have a trophy room, eh? He says, oh, yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. And he says, we haven't been here that long, and I haven't really unpacked all my trophies. But he says, come on, I'll take and show it to you. So I go, okay, so he gives me a beer, Corona or whatever. So we go down this hallway and everything. Then we come to this beautiful room, and it's all rosewood with glass shelves. And there was probably 25 trophies, and he hasn't even unpacked them all, right? And there over in the corner on a pedestal sat the Masters trophy, which is like a replica of the clubhouse, I guess, isn't it? You know, yeah. And it's sitting on a pedestal. It just looks spectacular. And I said, oh, Freddie, I said, well, can I go over and touch that? He goes, oh, Bob, go ahead, make it, go touch it, pick it up, he says. So just as I'm about to go over there, in walks Mark O'Meara with a rum and coke and 3 corporate guys and Scott McCarron. And Mark goes, he says, I got me one of those, Freddie. And he says, I got a claret jug. He says, you ain't got one of those. And Scott McCarron, he's like, oh, geez, I'd like anything like that, you know. It's funny, though, these guys, like, they're all friendly. They all rib each other, and they get off on that. So I got quite the laugh out of that. Hey, I got me one of those. But you ain't got a claret jug, Freddie. You ain't got one of those. And it's funny because Mark, and I think that was the year that Mark won both the Masters and the British Open, the claret jug. I don't know if he won them both in the same year or they were year after year. I'd have to check that. But so he really did have the bragging rights because that's fantastic. And they're quite old at this point, you know. Mark won that stuff, I think, when he was in his mid to late 40s, probably mid 40s anyways. Stairway to Heaven. That's just another little tidbit. Hope you enjoyed that one.